episode 186 of The Platformers, a show about games and nerd culture. I'm your host, Brian Barnett.
I'm Joshua Mobley.
I'm Chris Shriver.
And I'm Hannah Hoolihan. Hello.
Hannah Hoolihan. Yeah. Hannah is a fantabulous human being. I've had the pleasure of getting to know her, working on the IGN commerce team for a while, and she's also hung out with Audrey and myself on a couple of game nights.
Yeah.
And she is actually, she was in one of our episode titles. She was in.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Episode, what was this, 170 something? It was Stalwart Retweeter Hannah and Stalwart LMH.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm honored.
She is the eponymous Stalwart Retweeter, because she has long been a supporter of the show on social media, and we appreciate you.
Gotta support my friends.
I did not think about that when I invited you on. I just thought that you would be a wonderful person to talk. I mean, you are a wonderful person to talk with, and you are joining a pantheon of people we've been very fortunate to have on the show.
I thought you were going to say like
Janet.
a pantheon of garbage, but
That's my actual introduction. Yeah, that's what's actually going on.
But yeah, you know, joining such all stars as Audrey and Mitch Saltzman and Janet Garcia and all of those, and Matt Adler.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
So yeah,
Matt Agler, who I kept, like, after we were done recording, for way too long to talk about VR. Like, by the end of it, I could tell he was kind of like,
remember that.
all right, man, I gotta go. And I was like,
Yeah.
bye. Like, I have no VR friends.
I mean, we were talking about Dark Souls with Matt Adler too,
Yeah.
and doing a whole episode just on Dark Souls 3 because we were playing that for so long.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
heck yeah.
heck yeah.
He's a good boy.
So he is. He's good people.
Good lad.
And Hannah's good people as well. Would you like to introduce yourself to our fine whisperers, as I mistakenly called them last
the
week?
whispers.
Sure thing. I
about
mean,
that.
as you said, I work with the commerce team, and I also work with the guides team. So I'm kind of bounced between the two, doing stuff like that. So that's kind of my introduction in a nutshell. I don't do a whole lot else aside from that.
How long have you
What
been with IGN?
I've been with them since 2019. So I started writing a feature with them, and then after that, I kind of transitioned into guides and commerce.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some notable guides that you have worked on? If you don't mind asking.
Well, recently I did Resident Evil Village, and I really loved doing that one. Cyberpunk was an adventure. That was one I helped out
bet.
on. Yeah.
What did you play that on?
I played it on an Xbox One,
Oof.
Yeesh.
and it was... You can tell which
Good Lord.
screenshots are mine throughout that guide. They're muddy and hard to look at.
Like,
but
what are all these weird PS1 screenshots doing in here?
Is this Mafia? Is this the original Mafia?
the original Mafia?
Is this
Exactly,
some
yeah.
lost work of an impressionist master? Like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
I did Spiritfarer, which I really liked, and I know
Yes.
that
Nice.
you guys wanted to talk about that as well at some point.
Yes, I've been playing it. It's so
Very
good.
fun game. Yep. So
Yeah.
I did that. A lot of smaller indie titles I kind of cover, like Call of the Sea I did, and a couple others.
Oh, that game rules. That game is so
I have that
freaking good.
So
I have
much
that
fun.
installed.
Little Nightmares 2 was another one I did that I absolutely loved. I love that
Nice.
game. Yeah.
Nice. Indies are really fun to cover. Like I did Baba Is You and Hollow Knight, and like those are two of my favorite ones that I've done. Although Baba Is You is fucking absurd. Like it's so hard.
Yeah. Hollow Knight is
Ugh.
great, though. But yeah,
Kiki
those
is
are...
Hoosh?
That is probably the guide I'm the most proud of. I think, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah. No, that's
we're not
me
here
with...
to talk about me.
I mean, that's me with Little Nightmares 2. I think that's the guide that I was the most proud of by the time I was done
Nice.
with it. Is it actually turned
Yeah.
out exactly the way I wanted, which never really happens. It's very rare when you feel like 100% satisfied with something you've done. But that's one that
Guides
I
writing is
loved.
very difficult. It's really difficult, but it's
Yeah.
super fun and very rewarding.
It
Especially when people like hit you up and they're like, "Hey, I used your guide, thanks."
Yeah.
You know, like when
It
like
feels
when people
amazing.
hit
Thanks for nothing.
when people
Your
hit
guide
up,
sucked.
yeah, Janet and Casey about like, hey, thanks for you know the Final Fantasy VII remake guide, and Janet tagged me because she's an angel,
Yeah.
and is very very courteous. But yeah, it's like I love hearing stuff like that. Like when people use it and they're like, oh, this was gave me exactly the information I need. But yeah. So that's how Hannah and I met.
Yes, through commerce.
And how we got to know each other. And she's awesome. So I'm excited to talk with some stuff with her. Let's begin by talking about a game that Hannah and I have a lot of experience with, and Chris does as well.
Yeah.
And that is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a little spoiler-free pitch, because this is a game. This is I would say psychological horror game.
Dating sim game with a twist.
Yes, basically.
That's actually accurate. It really is.
Yeah, it's a dating sim game with a very huge twist.
Terrifying
and it's
one.
extremely good. And I think it's still free on PC for the base version.
Yeah.
The Plus version is $15 on Switch. I imagine it's the same on Xbox and PlayStation, but I actually did not verify that. But it is available on Windows and Switch and PlayStation and Xbox.
I think at retail it's $30 if you're interested in a physical copy.
Okay.
That'd be my guess.
Okay.
I came very close to
Interesting.
ordering it, but I was like, I'm never gonna play
That's
this.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It
and
comes
I
with like
thought-
stickers and all that kind of shit, like a keychain.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
You may be singing a different song at the end of this, but we'll see. But what I would say is, if you are at all interested in unsettling games that are very unusual and very interesting and toy with your expectations, man, it's so difficult to say anything.
You know what?
that's
It's
not a
I'll put
spoiler,
it. I'll put it in the bubble of this. Like it is one of my. It's one of my favorite things in the world to describe, because there is nothing else like it. Much like Gorillas, much like The Last of Us Part 2. There is just nothing else like Doki Doki Literature Club. It stands
that
in a
is
league
true.
all of its own.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's probably
is
one
true.
of the wildest surprises I've ever had with playing a game. And I
Yeah.
played it because everyone said it's completely
It's one of the
buck
wildest
wild and not
surprises.
what you
Yeah.
think it is.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
the whole thing threw me for a loop. Was not what
Yeah.
I was
And
thinking it was.
And I will say, it stays a straight putt for longer than you would think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that is in service of what eventually happens.
Mm-hmm.
The game would not hit as hard or hit all of the same notes if it wasn't what it was for as long as it was. But I will say, it is a short game. You can finish it in just a few hours. Like, I think it's like 4 hours long or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's very short. And it is...
It's a great, at least when I played it, it's one of those games I started at like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, yeah, I'll play it for like an
Oh
hour
my
or so.
God.
And was up till like 3 a.m. and played the whole thing.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of
Because
those.
you can't stop.
Yeah.
And you can look back in our catalog, because we definitely talked about this game when it was free on Steam, because I played it on PC. We definitely talked about this. And had glowing praise for it then. And I will tell you, the Plus version is even better. I did not think that was possible, but the interesting thing about the Plus version is that it adds additional side content. So throughout the regular game, the base game, you pick words from this list to create poems for several of the girls in the literature club, and one of them is into really cutesy things, one of them is into like more deep thought-provoking things, and one of them is into like love and like this sort of stuff. And you, based on the words that you select randomly, and it's not even like Mad Libs, because you don't know where it's going. You only pick those words, and then they don't actually tell you what the poem is. It's just how the person reacts to it. But based off of who likes your poem and who you spend time with through the dating sim, it unlocks additional side story content that you can access. And each one is set before the events of the game. And they basically... So in the main game, your character joins the literature club, and there are 4 members of literature club. So this is basically how each of those 4 members met each other and became members of the literature club. And basically, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is them bringing this PC-only game to consoles, yes, but then adding basically an additional 4 hours of content via these side stories. And I originally was like, I don't know how much these are going to add. I don't know how much more you can do with this that wasn't already done masterfully in the base game. But the way that they actually tackle it is they've made it so that the side stories have a completely different feel. Like, they are polar opposite. They're not disturbing. They are completely heartwarming and like moving even. I welled up like on 3 of them. Like there's 7 total. Like, it's crazy. They actually go through like really interesting and well-observed ways of dealing with the fact that immature people often say things that they don't mean and hurt each other's feelings and don't necessarily want to and don't like things about themselves. And it's crazy. Like, it is the complete opposite end of the spectrum of what happens in the main game. Which like almost gave me like emotional whiplash, because I beat the game again and then went back and did unlocked all the side stories and did all of those, which I did earlier today. But it's very, at first it was a little disturbing to see these characters that were behaving so differently than they were in the base game. But eventually I overcame my like emotional whiplash and really found it kind of cathartic to look through these stories. So I would say that Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is worth a recommendation, not only based on the incredible strength of the base game, but now these totally different side stories that kind of pay off a different thing that you could be looking for. Like, now it satisfies 2 things. Like, if you're looking to be totally freaked out, you've got the base game, and if you're looking for very earnest, heartwarming, kind of poignant, bittersweet stories, like, the side stories are there too.
And how long is this game? Like this version of it, rather?
4 hours for the base game, 4 hours for the side stories.
Okay.
So they've effectively doubled the length of the game with the side stories.
Now, does this do like the Persona 5 Royal thing of it's very well like intertwined into like the regular base game, or is it just?
It's not intertwined at all. They're completely separate.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't realize that.
The only way that they're intertwined is because playing the main game is how you unlock them.
Okay.
So basically what you do is thankfully you can do this as soon as the prompts pop up, but if you are planning on playing this and you want to see all the side story content, I suggest making a save anytime the poem making screen pops up, and then as soon as you make the 3rd poem and go forward and do that scene, then load your other save up and make those 3 poems for each of those characters. And the cool thing is, once you've done all of those, you'll have access to all of them. And when you're replaying through those different sections, you can skip all the dialogue that was the same, and then it will just stop when it's new stuff, which is cool. So it respects your time. If you prep it in that way. It didn't take me very long to get everything. And then, once I did, I was thinking I would just I'll check out one side story and then bounce. But then I was like, this is actually really good.
Yeah, it
and
sounds
then
like
I was
really
I need
expands on the characters in a nice way.
It really does. Like, by the time, I may actually play through the main game again after having gotten to know the characters way, way, way more in a new context, and without the main character being there, because now I feel like I actually have a way deeper understanding of the characters, which would probably make the main game even freakier.
That's what I was just going to ask, is does having that background of all the characters affect how you feel about all the characters, like, going into it a second time around in Plus? Are the scares different?
I don't know what the side stories would do to my understanding of that, because I did all the side stories after I'd already beaten the game this time around. But I will say, playing through the game a second time after having played it years ago now at this point on PC, I noticed a lot of things. There are a lot of things that you can pick up on if you know what's coming.
Okay.
And it's pretty wild how many things were seeded basically instantly and or constantly throughout the game. Like, it's pretty nuts.
Do you know?
But yeah,
I don't know how to ask this. I'm going to try to ask this without spoiling things.
okay.
You didn't play this on PC, right?
So the Plus version, I actually got a code from our friends over at Tinsley PR. I got a code for Switch.
Okay.
So I played it on Switch, which changes some things.
Well, so that's what I was going to ask. So, like, do you know if the PC release of this does anything with the file system? I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is the one thing that I would say. That is the one thing that I would say makes the PC release kind of still the definitive version of this.
Yeah.
Because in this game, basically when you exit Doki Doki Literature Club, there's like a desktop where you can go into where there's like a picture folder with screenshots like in wallpapers from the game. And there's like a music folder where you can access like the different music if you want to listen to it, and different things like that. And they play around a little bit like that, but it's not the same as the PC version.
Yeah, I mean that whole system is a very big part of the impact of.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing.
Yeah.
I think
really
that's
is.
the best thing the game does, honestly.
Yeah.
So I would say if you have the opportunity to play this game on PC, I recommend playing it on PC. If you don't and you only have access to console, do not sleep on this game. It is fantastic, and the Plus version is very much worth it for just a completely different reason than I was expecting.
Matthew fucking Agler's in the chat right now.
Oh,
Just had to say that.
We were just talking about you, buddy.
I love it.
We were just talking about how much we all love Matt Agler before we started recording.
And look it's like
That's
he
very
knew.
true.
And
He
look
hopped
and he
on
knew.
in.
He's just like, I'm
And
on
then he
Twitter. What are
arose.
these clowns up to?
Yeah.
love
Ears
it.
started
Yeah.
ringing, and then he
Yeah.
appeared.
I love it.
Don't you mean his ears started burning?
I've heard ringing.
Is that what happens to you? Your ears burn?
Burn?
You should
No,
get that
that's
looked
the
at.
thing. That's the thing. Like,
Oh,
your
I've-
ears are burning because somebody's talking about
It's
you.
not the way I've heard it, but
I've always heard ringing, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
What?
Yeah.
No, your ears ring if you have tinnitus.
I mean that too. But
But also when you're
Okay,
being talked
what-
about. It's right there. It's obvious.
This is another crazy Chris thing. Like, he doesn't like freaking cold.
Yes, okay.
food.
This is my
do
point
you
in the
mean? I'm the one
podcast
who
to
brought
ask
it
you,
up.
Chris.
We're
what's
really
your
gonna do this again.
No, what's your deal with cold cuts? I have to know.
All right.
Okay.
here we go.
I grew up like not eating a whole lot of like just variety of food. I really only
Okay.
ate like pasta, PB&J, SpaghettiOs, and bagel bites, and like that's
Sounds
literally
like
what I ate.
now.
Yeah, like that's
Excuse
what I
me,
ate for the
excuse
first
me. Bagel bites?
Yeah, bagel bite, dude. Bagel bites.
bagel
rock.
bites.
Bagel bites?
You mean bagel bites?
Bagel bites?
Sure.
I had
Bagel-
bagel bites up until the time that I was.
Bagel bites?
Look at Linguini. He's like, what the fuck is that
Bagel
noise?
bites?
So
Bagel bites?
that's all I ate up until I
Yeah.
met Jess. And then Jess, when we first started dating, she was like, we're going to go to P.F. Chang's. And I went and looked at the menu. I was like, I can't eat anything here. And she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I had my first piece of honey chicken, and then I saw the light.
There you go.
So,
There it is.
but regardless.
As someone who
right?
lived in
So
Southeast
you
Asia
have-
for years, this is offensive to me.
So you have the first 20 years of my life where I'm not eating meat.
Okay.
And then I finally start to, and they're like, hey, here's
Not eating meat? Like, you didn't eat meat?
I
like,
didn't
at
eat
all?
anything. I'm telling you, I only ate like pizza and pasta. I was a carbivore. That's all I ate. It was just like shit.
Yeah.
It was shit and fruit, and like that's it, and yogurt. So
You ate shit and fruit?
yes,
And you were a super thinny boy?
I was.
To get the
I was
taste of
very
shit
thin
out of his
at the
mouth.
time.
That's
God, keep up.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wish
You
I
ate
had that kind of body.
You ate carbs and fruit, which is chock full of sugar, and you were that thin?
I was thin as a rail, and I was dancing my ass off in every
He's
musical
like,
I
I've
could get
never
into.
been closer to God in my life.
I've never. It was literally. It's where I peaked. Like I'm the guy that peaked in high school.
There you
I was glowing. When I
It
was
wasn't
that
the
age.
jock of the football team. It was Theater Chris.
Oh yeah, teaching everybody the hand jive in Greece. I
There
was
you
Belle's
go.
dad in Beauty and the Beast. I got it all, man. I was
You got
Roger
locked
in
in
Rent.
jail. That's cool.
Oh man.
Yeah.
By-
And had
by-
AIDS. Not that
Wait,
that's
he had
funny.
AIDS?
Roger has AIDS in Rent.
Wait,
That's
so
not the
what
point
are you
that we're
talking
trying to get
about?
on.
Belle's dad had AIDS.
Chris, we can have a whole conversation about this. What other musicals
Yeah,
have you
this is
been
the
in?
podcast within a podcast.
We're
where we talk
switching
about
into
Chris Shriver's
musicals
musical
now
life.
because now I'm curious and I have to know.
Okay. So I was.
Hold on,
I've
hold on,
been-
hold on. Before we do this, I need you to confirm. You're saying Belle's dad did not have AIDS
Belle's dad did not have AIDS
that we know of.
that we know of.
Okay.
Is it even
Reminder:
a
she did
thing
not have a mother in the movie. Anyway,
back
Anyway.
then?
I've been in Little
He
Shop of
immaculately
Horrors.
conceived her.
Excellent.
I've been in Little Shop of Horrors. I was the dentist.
oh
I
my
was-
god, excellent.
I thought you were going to say you were the plant.
No, I was. If you've seen the movie, I was. That
would've been great.
Steve Martin, yeah.
Be like, I
I'd have been
only
jealous.
want bagel bites and pizza.
I was Robbie Hart in The Wedding Singer.
PB&J and warm things.
Who, if you're familiar with The Wedding Singer, it's Adam Sandler's character. I was Roger in Rent, who's Adam Pascal in the movie.
love it.
I was the Cat in the Hat in Seussical.
Really? That's amazing.
I was Burt Bratt in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. I'm trying to think of what
Wait,
else
who's
there was.
that? Because I've seen that. I
He's
actually
the-
saw that on stage.
He's the assistant of like the CEO. He's like his like.
Oh, okay,
right-hand
that's a good
man.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a fun role.
good.
I got to I got to be
Yeah.
goofy with that.
That was a fun. That was one of like two things I've seen at Tuts down here.
Yeah, and I was Corny Collins in Hairspray. That's the other one. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I haven't seen Hairspray.
yeah. Hairspray.
Seen some of it.
Excellent. It's a fun
Yeah.
movie.
Not-
It's a
not
fun
all
show.
of it, though.
Jess almost died in it. She there was a moment where
In the background, like, why are you
Yes.
telling me this?
yeah, why are you telling the story?
Why are you telling the story?
So there's a moment in the show where like there's a protesting happening, and on our set we had this giant radio sign.
Yeah.
And the sign literally like people are like shaking stuff. The sign fell off the set. So there's like a recording where I'm walking around backstage in a wife beater, and you just see a pair of arms come out and grab the sign as it's falling from the stage or whatever, the set. And hi.
And now you're getting married.
And now I'm getting married.
Aw.
What?
It was the
Also
love
sweet.
story of the
We're getting
ages.
married.
He saved her in the
saved your
musical.
life, and now you're
I
getting
saved
married.
your life.
Yep, he saved your life.
Oh, I know that. I know we were dating before that, but I saved your life. It helped.
It helped.
Yeah, it helped my cause.
It didn't win. It didn't win it for you, but it helped a little.
It certainly
Yeah.
Just a
helped.
little.
There you go.
That's hilarious.
It
It
didn't
didn't
hurt.
go against me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, I'm
Just a
I'm
little.
very musically inclined.
If you
Tap
saved my
dancing
life,
man.
that would have been a mark against you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us for the podcast within a podcast. Chris
That's
Shriver
about
tap
video
dancing.
games.
Yeah.
About video games.
But I
Yeah,
do love that we
yeah.
segued so quickly from talking about your cold cuts deal
Now getting back to cold cuts.
going
so,
into your musical history.
so they were like, "Here's Subway. You know, you can
I mean,
get
you
meat."
had Subway. It's disgusting.
Well, you know what I
Subway's-
mean.
yeah, Subway's gross.
I've been around the block. All right, we've got Italian delis in Philadelphia, like in the Philadelphia
Of
surrounding
all
area.
the places to not eat sandwiches, that is outrageous to me.
I
To be fair, yeah.
have tried it all. The idea of cold cuts and cold meat, like I'm eating it and I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna get sick because it's not cooked. Like, what did they do to this
It is
thing? And
cooked.
you hear about, and then you hear about the
Yeah.
process in which like they prepare it, and I'm like, no. I had a
You
salad.
do
the other-
realize that
Hold
hot
on.
meat goes through all that as well.
I had a salad the other day that had chicken in it, and like it took so much concentration to not gag while I was eating it. I was like, it's good for me. I have to do it. And
Were
like
you
the
eating,
whole time
like-
I'm eating it,
Were you eating like a packaged salad from a grocery store?
I got it. It was a salad from Panera.
That's not much better.
It had-
like
I mean, it was quite good, but I had to get mentally there.
I always.
I mean, what kind of salad did you get from Panera? Now I'm
It was
Yeah, what was
spring mix
I gotta know that now. Let's
with
get to the bottom of this.
yeah.
it was mandarin oranges, strawberries, blueberries, pecans,
very
the
healthy
Greek goddess
salad.
dressing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying. You know,
I mean,
I got a little good
It's
for
a
her
good salad.
in
I like
November.
the Greek goddess salad there. I
It's
think
a good
really
dressing.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can agree.
So yeah, cold cuts. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. I'll have a hot. It could be 1,000 degrees outside. I
Alright.
want a hot sandwich. Give me some soup.
Now, I will
There's
I will
your
say, this got brought up as hot deli meat versus cold deli meat. The statement that he made on the previous episode is, I don't like cold food.
I don't like cold meat in my mouth, is the statement that was made.
That's what you came around to, but the original statement was you don't like cold food, and that's why we freaking popped off like crazy.
Sure.
But anyway,
It's a
We
debate
definitely
that needed
popped off.
settling.
Everyone likes a
apparently.
good bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
You
can't-
Okay.
Yes.
you'd think.
You got me there.
You'd think.
But
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what I think about Doki Doki Literature Club Plus.
I'm reading Matt Agler's like, I thought you were implying that Belle's dad had AIDS, and I was very concerned.
That's what I said.
Oh,
I mean, he could. He also got hypothermia, or not hypothermia, pneumonia,
Yeah.
right? Like being out in the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cold. That was a big thing.
Yep.
did he?
That'll kill you.
I don't remember that.
I mean, that would definitely kill you back
Well,
then.
because he gets to the castle, and then he's like,
Yeah.
you know, I need comfort from the cold.
it's like I need an adult.
Yeah.
Pretty much, all that stuff.
I need an adult.
I need an adult.
If that was in Beauty and the Beast, I would have laughed so hard. Quick cutaway of just, I need an adult.
Do you know it wasn't in the new live action one?
I mean, I've seen it a couple of times. I can tell you it's
Yeah,
not.
I've seen it too. It wasn't in there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's always time for a revision later. Disney likes to dip back into the
I know.
well.
God, I can't
Reboot
stand
or reboot.
any of those.
There you go.
All
The
the
only
remakes.
reason I watched that one was because Emma Watson was in it.
What is that
and I'm a
supposed
big-
to mean?
I'm a big fan.
I just don't watch them.
I mean, I grew up watching her in Harry Potter. I'm not
No, I know.
like.
I'm kidding. I'm giving you a hard
She's
time.
awesome.
Let's move on.
Just
Let's
joking.
move on.
All right.
It was a joke.
So let's talk about something else. What should we talk about? We've got where's the topic list? I know we got Disgaea 6 in here. We've got some other things. We've got. Oh, do we want to talk about the Switch OLED?
Yes.
Sure.
Let's talk
We
I
about.
sure
want to hear
can.
all of you talk about it. Because I don't care, like in any way, and I know Chris.
I
is
really
probably
don't
about to
care
go
either.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Chris,
between
didn't you-
Chris and Brian here.
I even
You hit me up about this in the chat, right? Didn't you?
I did. I've been pondering the Switch OLED, or the SWOLED, as Casey
SWOLED.
DeFritas has been calling it on MVC, which I like a lot.
Jesus.
I will respect Casey because she's a treasure,
She is.
Yeah.
and it is slightly bigger than the one, at least the screen.
That's what she said. The obviously the bummer with
That's a
this.
screen.
If you not said that, it would have worked. The bummer with all of this is the fact that it does not. It doesn't. It's not a hardware bump by any stretch of the imagination in terms of CPU and RAM and all that good stuff. People were hoping that this was going to get voice chat and
I didn't even care about
faster
that. I just wanted
processor and all
like,
that.
And the crazy thing is that, and I should preface this discussion with this, like we literally talked about in the previous episode. What was it? There were two things that I had said in that episode that like we then found out were like just not right at all.
What's that?
What was it? I tweeted about that.
I
One of them
had
was about the
I got
Switch thing.
something right where I was like, or sort of. I remember like a couple episodes ago, I asked you guys. I was like, when do we stop asking for a Switch Pro, and then you just wonder like when it's the next one, right?
Yeah.
Or like,
yeah.
do you?
I mean,
like something along the lines of that. And I'm when I saw like, oh, it's just an OLED screen. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. And to everyone, they're like acting like, they didn't get the thing that they were supposed to get. And I'm like, I don't know that we were ever going to get that thing that everybody. kept
no, I
talking
mean
about.
hardware. Like
Oh yeah.
hardware-wise,
Okay.
realistically, like that thing, as much as I wanted it, and I said, we deserve it, we need it. Like that was never going to happen. Nintendo's just not that company.
Yeah.
Hannah, did you shit? I forgot the question I was going to ask you. Shit, Brian,
Okay,
what
well,
were you
I've
going to
got-
say?
So I pulled up my tweet from July 6th, me on the Platformers Pod last night. Hey, the next PlayStation event, I don't know what it's going to be about, but whatever it is, it shouldn't be about Deathloop.
Oh,
because
yeah.
they've already shown too much of it.
I laughed
also-
audibly when I found out.
Yeah, And also, I
you.
can't wait for the more powerful Switch, so Disgaea 6 and more will run well on it. And then not only were they like, yeah, the main thing we're doing in this PlayStation State of Play is is a deep dive on Deathloop, and I'm like, fuck.
Hey, I'm
and then they're
stoked
like, and
for
also the
Deathloop.
Switch,
Give me all of
and
that
also the
Deathloop
Switch
coverage.
OLED has no extra power.
We're all stoked for Deathloop, but I know enough. I'm like, I just want to
That's
play
I'm
it.
fair.
good. Just
That's fair.
Yeah.
let me put it in the console and let's move on.
Listen, I
Exactly.
recently played all of the Dishonored games for the very first time, and it was the best experience. And then watching
How did
that
you-
preview was just perfect. It made me so much more
How did you
excited.
play them? Like, what did you play them on?
Low chaos for all three of them.
Well, no, sorry. What platform did you play them on?
Oh, Xbox.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, because
Love
they're
it.
all on
Brian's
Game
been
Pass,
trying to get me to
so
play them for years, and I haven't done it yet.
You absolutely should.
You
I
should.
literally
These are freaking
spent
great.
5 days straight just playing through all three, and it was the best experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you
Like,
do so?
It was great.
I don't think I've talked to you about this, but Josh and I have talked about this. I'm very proud of it because in Dishonored, I think all of them actually, I have the Ghost and Merciful achievements. So I didn't kill
nice.
anybody, and nobody ever knew I was there.
I
Nobody ever saw me.
could not have
It's
achieved that.
crazy.
It is the best.
It's
feeling.
crazy. It is like that's some of my proudest stuff. Like that's up there with like my Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 platinums.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's one
Stuff's
of those.
hard.
It's really hard, and I'd love to go back and try to get those achievements too. Because the nice thing about those games, they're so easy to jump back into, because
Yeah.
they're just so tremendously fun, and there's so many ways to approach them. And it's one I'd absolutely jump back into to try to.
did you play Prey at all?
Yeah, long time
Okay.
ago, but I loved Prey.
That game rules. I'm actually going through
Does
on
it-
my Typhon playthrough now.
Does it rip ass?
That game rips ass.
I was like really shocked you didn't go there.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. Like we've been like we.
What are you talking about? We ripped ass
been a
last week.
minute.
What are you talking about?
I've done a lot of things since then, dude. Like,
We all have.
you know,
Man.
It's been the exact same
yeah.
amount of time.
Oh.
it's true. But I've spent a lot of unlike normal weeks where most of the time I spend is like talking with you jokesters. I spent a lot of time with the band this week, and so there was just getting into the different rhythms and stuff like that. So my rips ass game is weak right now. I'm sorry, guys.
Banned
That-
puns.
Can I get context as to what's going on?
What is ripping ass?
When was this? Was this like a
I
month
know that,
ago?
Chris. Thank you.
was
I would
about a
just
month
like to
ago.
know
It was
the
like- it was
context
like-
of Brian.
It was like
I
3
just-
or 4 episodes ago, and we've every week somebody's had brought it up.
That's
I
something.
said something was great, and I was like, man, that thing rips. It rips ass. Like, you know, like just saying it as if it was a good thing, which then of course brought me back to the memory that I had with my old band, where my guitarist Miguel, who was an excellent guitarist, wrote this amazing guitar piece, and I said, man, that's a bitch ass lick, and he's like, I don't think that that's a good thing. I don't think that bitch ass is
It's not.
good, is positive.
brought
And I
this
was
up.
Pretty sure
like,
they call you that in
Probably
prison.
not.
I was like,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
I mean it positive, and then that was just like the thing that would be said anytime something was good. Like I came up with a good drum beat or something, and he's like, "Man, that's a bitch ass drum beat." And so you know, rips ass, bitch ass, you know,
They
it's
all work.
It
You
takes
know,
all
it's a thing.
It's fine.
it takes all kinds of ass to make the world go round.
Wow.
Quote of the day. There you go. Way to go.
Yeah.
So
anyways,
Switch OLED.
So the swollen. Let's get back to that. Yeah.
I forgot what we were even talking about.
So did I.
Oh,
That's
man.
hilarious.
So anyway, so I was of course very disappointed that it didn't have any extra power, because like I was like, man, I would love to be able to run graphics mode on Disgaea 6. Hannah, I don't know if you know anything about Disgaea, but this was the first game I'd ever played on Switch that had performance toggles. Like there
Yeah.
is a performance mode, a graphics mode, and a balanced mode on Switch, which is very
Weird.
strange.
Yeah.
And you definitely need to use different modes when you're on docked mode versus when you're on, you know, on handheld, which is where I play most things. But, you know, recently I've hooked my dock up to my monitor, actually the monitor I'm using right now, and I like play there during the day because I think that Disgaea because you're spending a lot of time in menus, it benefits a lot from having like a bigger screen. So I was really looking forward to not necessarily like what some people were saying of like, oh, the Switch is going to be like 8 to 12K docked. Like I never thought that was going to be the case. I don't even need 4K. Like solid 1080p or 2K max, like 1440p or something would be amazing. But what I wanted was just a little bit more power. Like we've got these games like Control on there. We've got Doom on there. Some of these games are streaming. Like they're not actually living on there because it just can't run them. And because like Control would barely run on the freaking Xbox One. Like, you know, and so I just think that I appreciate it having a bigger screen. I appreciate it having an Ethernet port on the dock. These are good moves, especially because one of the biggest problems with Smash Brothers is the netcode. Like, it's not great. So, like, any help that you can get there and other multiplayer games, like, Switch needs a bump in that department. But I just feel like, at least for me, and maybe I want to hear what everybody thinks, but for me, like, the one place that it needed it the most was the like horsepower. Was like it just needed a little bit more headroom to make these games work. Hannah, what do you think?
I didn't really care, you know. It it was announced, and I thought, hey, good for the Nintendo fans. You got a bigger screen, got a couple of other things, but I think people built it up into such a big thing with the Switch Pro.
Yeah.
That I kind of giggled when it came out, and it's like, oh, here's your bigger screen.
100%. Yeah,
So,
I kind of was the same
where
way.
I fall with it.
Whereas,
you
like,
know.
everybody built this thing up, like you said, and then it's seeing everyone just be upset the minute that it didn't happen. It was just like, I don't know where you all even got the idea that this was happening.
Yeah, it
Because
just
I never
Bloomberg.
once heard that.
it just
Bloomberg. That's where we got
Bloomberg was
the
where we
idea.
got the
Yeah.
idea of it.
It just was built up into such a massive thing, and it's like I don't think any of that is coming to the Switch because Nintendo's past with their previous consoles just never jumped that far between base version and then a pro version of it. So they've always made minor changes.
I think there were some minor power increases from the DS to the DSi or the DS Lite, and from the 3DS to the 3DS XL or the new Nintendo 3DS XL.
Yeah.
So those ones were actually pretty significant. And what's funny is it's the same game that made me think that, or the same franchise that made me think that this was at least going to be a marginal power upgrade. Hyrule Warriors on the 3DS, on a base 3DS, runs like shit. Like, it's awful. On the new 3DS XL...
And it wasn't run those Super Nintendo. What was it? You could only use the Ambassador Super Nintendo games if you had the new one.
You could only play Super NES, like the ROMs or whatever that they were selling out of the eShop on new 3DS XL hardware or new 3DS hardware.
Yeah.
But I think they weren't ever as extreme of jumps as people had made assumptions for with the Switch, between the Switch and the Switch Pro.
The Switch and the Switch Pro.
With the 8 or 12K thing, that would have been a ridiculous jump in power.
They're not that company.
No,
and
not at all.
Yeah, I mean the PS5 and Series X can't even do that.
Who would have done that if we had a PS Vita 2? That's who would have done that.
Yeah,
but people want all the things that Nintendo can give them in a handheld and the things that Sony wants to give people in a handheld, and it's unfortunate because I want those things too. Like some of my favorite consoles of all time have been handheld ones, like Game Boy Advance, Vita, PSP, DS. Those are all bangers. Like those are all exceptional, just video game consoles in general, and the games lineups for those I would put up against basically any dedicated console, most of them, that have ever come out. And so I feel like so many people, myself included, Switch is like the culmination of that dream, where it's like the Vita was like, yo, it's console quality gaming on the go, and it almost was. But the Switch is the first one where it's like, no, it legit is. But it's just, especially with the PS5 out now and the Series X and S, like it's the gulf is widening, and it was already not super favorable for Switch even last gen.
Yeah.
I
feel like the Switch in 2021, the standard model, is like 20 or 80% of what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And honest, what I find so interesting about all this is like Digital Foundry's done a number of deep dives on just like the performance of the NVIDIA chip that's in the base Switch, and have come out and said like Nintendo could, in theory, boost this just enough to get, you know, like when you're going to the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild, and the frame rate drops, you know, pretty significantly, but it's loading that forest area. That like I'm pretty sure they've proven on a hacked Switch that if you boost the clock speed of the CPU, it doesn't do that. Like it can hit and lock a locked 30 FPS and be fine. What'll be interesting is if when this one comes out and really starts getting adopted, like if you see like a patch early next year that unlocks that boost a little bit. The problem would end up being on anybody that has a base model, either they're not going to upgrade that, or they will upgrade it, and all of those consoles are going to start to break because the cooling is so crappy in those.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I really don't like the screen quality on the standard Switch. I really don't like the build of the standard Switch at this point. The Joy-Cons constantly pop out. I feel like
especially when your daughter drops it on the floor and it just smashes into oblivion.
That doesn't help.
Riley
the
does
screen
no
has-
wrong. Excuse you. She's perfect.
I know. I didn't say it was wrong. I just said it was inconvenient for me.
Yeah.
She does nothing wrong. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. She's the best of all of us. It's true.
It's true.
But the screen on the standard Switch has like that gray hue to it, that like I'm not real crazy about. So like what I'm interested in the fact that Brian isn't like, because as long as I've known him, like you've been like I have a Switch and I play it handheld. If anything, this is for you. Like if your standard Switch gets all beat up and everything.
And I legit, like, I mean, full disclosure, and we may have talked about this before, like, we use You Need a Budget. I created a line item for the Switch Pro, new Switch, whatever model, like a couple of years ago, and I've saved up, like, I think my prediction was that it would be $400, and it's actually cheaper than that. It's $350.
Yeah.
So I basically am ready to pull the plug, Jesus Christ.
Pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger. I'm ready to pull the plug on Nintendo and
Yeah.
the Nintendo Switch. No, but I was ready to do it, and I was like, and you know what? This other Switch, I'll just, Audrey can use it to replay, Return of the Obra Dinn or something, and then like in a year or whatever, when Riley's ready to start playing games, she can just have it.
Yeah.
Like, and that will be cool. And then this new Switch will just be mine, and I'll be able to run things better and all that sort of stuff. And with these minimal improvements, it's hard for me to justify it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, can they run Breath of the Wild 2 on what they have going for the OLED?
Yeah, I mean the engine's not changing, right?
Yeah.
So like in terms of what they're going to push in that game, what's going to be a problem is if that game comes out and it doesn't run well, or it has
That's
too many
my
of those
question.
areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why this was such a surprise. Now it's entirely
which is
possible.
crazy because some of the power-ups that we've seen in Breath of the Wild 2 make it look like it's gonna need to load stuff faster than the original one.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it's entirely
Because like
possible
warping
that,
through floors and walls and like going up, huge heights and teleporting and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean it's possible that this game comes out because it's first party. They do they do increase the boost clock or the clock speed of that chip, and they let all the switches run at that point. But again, you're facing that that cooling issue. I don't know, but back to the Hyrule Warriors thing. Like that game does not run at a stable 30, even if you're playing single player. On the standard and Switch Lite. It's why I haven't played it yet, because every time I do, I get pissed off because it runs like crap. If more first-party Switch games come out that are like that, then I don't know. I mean, it's going to look really bad in comparison to PS5 and Series X. But the question is, does Nintendo give a shit? Because at the end of the day, like, who's really buying these things up? It's parents and their kids and grandparents and whoever else for
And
their
they're
kids,
still,
their grandkids.
it's still like what is it's either the number 1 or number 2 fastest selling console ever.
Yeah. So like
Right?
for us, yeah, it is. It's on track to at least meet the Wii,
Which is
and I think
outrageous.
this model is going to push it over for sure.
Well, and the OLED also releases on the same day that Metroid Dread comes out, so that is an
Which
easy
is-
push
yeah.
for them to say you could have this and then run it even better with this game and be able to bundle the
Right.
two in that way, which in a way it
Which is
makes
crazy
sense
because
why they're
Metroid
doing
Dread
that.
isn't.
But
Like, I mean, it does make sense that they're launching
Yeah.
the same day as a game, but for me, it doesn't make sense because of all the games that are coming out, this is not one that's pushing the visual fidelity of the
To
Switch.
be fair, though, they don't have a lot this
yeah, they don't.
this fall that
No.
does. Like there isn't that big showcase or game that's like a showpiece of like, look at the graphics, like everything. I mean, it's Nintendo. Like everything is
Yeah.
that cartoony kind of vibe.
It would have been like what Breath of the Wild 2, Pokemon Legends Arceus, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like something
Yeah.
where it was like this big open world. Look at how immersive and impressive this sort of a thing is. But
even those aren't,
Metroid
like-
is definitely
Yeah, even those aren't like
or Prime 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Prime 4 would
Well,
have been a great showcase.
Didn't they
for that.
restart Prime 4 like last year?
I mean, I'm just saying just stuff that I'm vision casting stuff that we know is coming.
Yeah.
right.
Not necessarily that the timeline would have fit at all.
I think there's enough
but yeah.
excitement behind Metroid though right now where they know people will want to get it and there's that kind of going for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So that's
I hope
probably
so.
why
I'm looking
it's
for a
playing
Metroid
that way.
There's-
resurgence.
And it's funny, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, just so we can, move on to bigger and better things. But I'm like, I don't need this thing, but again, in typical Chris Shriver fashion, like, I'm stalking Wario 64. Like, when the fuck is this thing on pre-order? Because I want
Yeah.
it.
And I may end up getting it. It's just it went from I'm definitely getting this to I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and you were right. It is for me. Like I mostly play this thing handheld and just like I put it down on my nightstand. I put it down like I carry it. I play it on like a lunch break or something like that. Like I play it handheld mostly. Like
Yeah.
it's like 80 to 90% handheld for me. So having a bigger screen in handheld mode and having it be an OLED screen is good. It's just not like it's not the destination I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the case for a lot of people, or at least a lot of current Switch owners, for sure.
Yeah.
I have one more thing I want to mention before we move on, and that's if you're vaccinated and you're comfortable with going out in public and things like that, I urge you, and you have the ability to do this. Brian isn't really in this position because he has a kid. I urge you to go to your favorite coffee shop or library or whatever it is, any public place, and just bring your Switch and hang out for an hour. Because I did it Saturday, and holy fuck, I forgot how much I missed doing that. I went to Starbucks Saturday morning. I brought the Switch Lite, played some Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, got a coffee, and just sat there.
That's a good
They
way
had
to spend
80s
a
music
Saturday.
playing. Oh my god,
I miss
it
cafes.
set the
Yeah.
tone for the whole weekend. And it was like,
Yeah.
this is exactly why this thing exists, and I love my
Yeah.
life right now.
What was it? Karen? Was it? Karen was right. The
Yeah.
person that they had in that
Oh
that
yeah,
very
but, like
first
she brought her
announcement video
Switch again. God.
to a party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Relatable.
Karen was right.
Karen
in,
nailed it.
In this instance, Karen was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
But yeah, the Switch is a great console, which is I think why it's the same situation that it was in back during the heyday of the Vita, where it was like, why can't they come out with a new version of the Vita that has 2 triggers and you can click in on the analog sticks and it's a little bit more comfortable, and like we love these consoles and we want them to succeed. We want them to be the best that they can be, and it's obnoxious when it feels like somebody's going to take a swing and like actually significantly improve something and then they don't, which is a bummer. So let's see. Chris, was that your thing, the Switch OLED that you wanted to talk about?
No, it was not.
Okay, I got a couple of things. Josh, what do you have for this week?
Boy, I've been playing a game called Spiritfarer, and I'm in love with it.
Woo! It's so fun.
And I know Hannah has played it also.
I adore it.
Extensively.
Yeah. Yeah. Put a ridiculous amount of hours into that game.
Yeah. So, for people that don't know, it's like a. It feels wrong to call it a side scroller, even though that's the perspective it is, because it just doesn't feel like that. But it's like a hand drawn side scroller where you play as the new Spiritfarer, who's like the figure that takes dead souls from the afterlife into the next, like, whatever, the great beyond, or whatever you want to call it.
And in different types of mythology, that is known as a psychopomp.
There you go.
Interesting.
Anyway, you play as that person, and you go around. You have a big boat, and you take this boat around to different islands, collecting resources and finding people to come live on your boat that you will then, like Mass Effect style, do things for, and then eventually shepherd off into the great beyond.
I thought you were going to say Mass Effect style, you turn them into animals.
They are animals. It's funny you bring that up. Everybody's like a different.
No. I mean, I've played a little bit.
Oh, you have played
it.
Okay.
They have like animal spirits that they show up as.
Yeah.
Everybody manifests in their furry form until they reach the afterlife.
Yes.
But man,
that's the message.
Yeah, it is like so great, and it's so calm. There's no combat.
Oh,
there's
it's
no,
so
like,
relaxing.
There's no one.
The animation is really crazy good.
It is good.
Like, it's very exceptional.
The other thing I like about it is that it has like all of the things that I like from like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, like these really just nice, calming activities for you to do. But none of it is on this like real-time basis. Like, things happen in real time, but there's a like day-night cycle that lasts, I don't know, like 15 minutes or so. But you're not like, well, I did everything that I did for the day, so now I have to turn the game off. It's not like that. It's like you just go to sleep and wake up, and there's a whole other day. So now you can go do other stuff, and like,
so you can just play.
You can just
constantly.
play forever. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
very sweet, and it was so funny because I had done the guide for Amnesia Rebirth right before it, and so it was
Jeez,
Oh
what
wow!
like a great palate cleanser.
Yeah, what an amazing decompression this probably was, 'cause
Seriously,
it's
I
like-
just sat down with it like, this is the happiest I've felt in so
It's like-
long. It's so pleasant.
Yeah.
Oh,
Play
man.
this.
Wait, this game is not making me miserable? Oh my
I'm
god.
not terrified all the time. It feels
Yeah.
great.
Here's an interactive cartoon about like death positivity and like
Yeah.
just very calm and like all these things. It's incredibly good and funny.
And the
I
characters
would
are
say.
super lovable.
They are, and you can hug them,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
And they get
And you
they
can
get-
cook them their favorite foods and
Favorite
stuff.
You
foods.
try to figure out their favorite food and all that. I'm like constantly running back and forth from the oven. I'm like, what am I throwing in here? Like squid and carrots? Sure, throw it in. I don't know what's going to come out, but
And that's kind of the
And
nice part is it has a good pacing to it. You never feel like you're really waiting on anything because there's always different activities to do kind of around the ship itself. So you're constantly moving and doing other things.
Water your crops. You can cook
Yeah.
stuff. You
You're-
can what is it? Collect like your energy when you're going through those storms and whatnot.
Yeah. Little
catch
mini
the lightning in the
games.
bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like the jellyfish and all that, and then you can go fishing. You get a lot of
Yeah.
stuff from that too. Like there's just all these little
That-
things to do.
The framing of the shot when you're sitting on the back of the boat and the boat's going somewhere, but you're fishing off the back of it is like so. I don't know what it is. It like captures something.
It's like-
in my childhood that I never actually experienced.
It's like digital hot
peaceful.
chocolate. It's
Yeah,
it's
that's a
like,
perfect way to describe it.
it's like so
Did-
just comforting. You know what I mean?
ladies. They call me digital hot chocolate.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, like and like
call me.
the music's just like this nice little like piano and stuff, and you're just like, oh, I'm just hanging out with all
Yeah.
these dead people and I'm having a good time. We're not doing.
But it
you know.
never feels dark. It's all very like they have these
Yeah.
final things they want to do and then they fully accept what's happening and it's doesn't feel heavy. It's a
Yeah.
very accepting and loving game in that aspect.
Are you
It's very
winning,
sweet.
son? I'm just hanging out with some digital dead people dead.
I'm
Having the
helping
best
them.
time, don't worry.
I'm helping them come to grips with their life as they pass on. I'm also
As I
fishing.
bake them an apple pie. It's all coming together, don't worry.
Yeah, I make them coffee in the oven somehow.
Yep.
But everything
pretty
goes in
much
the
it.
oven. It doesn't matter.
You know
if
that
it's-
oven coffee like mom used to make?
Yeah. You throw You throw 2 different kinds of vegetables in the oven. Salad.
Taking a dark
you
turn
throw.
now.
You throw rice in the oven with nothing in it. Just
Yeah.
cooked rice. It doesn't.
Yep.
Everything comes out. You
Ugh.
throw wood in there. Coal. It does.
What?
Yeah.
No, putting those recipes together, you just have to chuck whatever you find into the oven and be like, does it work? Does it not? Yes,
Yeah,
no,
what
what's
comes
going
out?
Is it blend?
Yeah.
Yeah. The recipe list was the most ridiculous thing to put together because it is just mashing together, like, what goes with wood? What could go with this piece of lobster that I found? And just throw it in
Yeah.
and hope you get something that works.
Yeah, the other day, like I threw in like a squid, and then
Yeah.
I think either a carrot or like something really random,
And then you get
and then
something.
what came out was like fish curry, and I'm like,
Yeah.
sure,
Like, that's
Why
how it
not?
works. Okay.
yeah. I wish that's how it worked. It'd be so
Yeah.
easy. Just throw everything
Cuttlefish
in the oven.
curry, maybe.
Also, nothing ever burns. You don't have to like watch the oven. It's just like whatever
Which
you were
is-
making is done.
which is so good.
You can come back
Excellent.
3 days later and your coffee's there, and you're like sick. You know?
If only real life
Perfect
worked this way.
temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Don't
everybody
do that in real life. You'll get
Every-
sick.
Yeah.
Everybody should go play Spiritfarer. It's on Game Pass. It's freaking beautiful. It's such a nice, just like chill out. Don't
You'll
worry about
instantly
anything.
feel relaxed.
Yeah.
That was
Instantly.
definitely one of those games, and we talked about this before. I can't remember who I was talking about that with, but I was like, I think it was actually the fighting game crew, where I was talking about it, and I was like, man, I really went from being a big JRPG fan who was playing these super long games to literally being like, hey, can you make Persona 6 like 45 to 60 hours shorter than Persona 5, please, so that I can actually play it? And I was like, yes, Spiritfarer, hell yeah. And like when I was playing it, like because it was on Game Pass for a while, I don't know if it still is.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I bet this is like 12, 15 hours. It's like 50 hours, right?
It's
Yeah, it's
really
pretty
That's the only
long.
reason I haven't played it is because when
Yeah,
I
that's-
looked up how long to beat, I was like,
But
oh.
it's
It's a
like
lot.
That's the reason I quit. Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
you're gonna finish it, right? But there's not like an overarching plot.
No.
Like it's
Okay.
you're
it's
just
just like a
dealing
series
with,
of short stories.
yeah, you're
yeah,
dealing
you're just
with
finding different people.
every yeah, it's like every
Okay.
individual character's like got a bunch of things they want to do, and then when you do them, like you shepherd them off and they go away. But like they have like a story, like they'll tell you about their lives, or like some of them
Yeah.
are related to you, so they're like, oh, I remember when
Yeah, I definitely.
I hung out with
noticed
your
that
dad
right
or
away.
whatever. Like they,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's one of those things like you could pick up and come back and probably be totally fine. You'll remember everything because there's not like a, I don't know, there's not like an end goal, I guess. Like there is in that you want to get everyone off the boat, right? But like,
But there's not like a last time on
yeah,
No.
sort of a situation.
like if it was a show, it wouldn't like everybody be like, this is a show about nothing because it's just like
It'd be like Twilight
It'd be
Zone
like
or something.
Seinfeld.
no,
It'd be like
I-
every episode is
Like a
just
one-off.
encapsulated
I would just say
on its
half
own.
the episodes would be like, hey, can you make me like some
Maybe a grilled cheese.
you make me a grilled cheese, some apple pie or something,
Yeah.
and then it's like we gotta go
I
chop
really
wood.
miss French fries. Can you make me
And
French
then-
fries?
Yeah, and then you go with the snake person, and you're like, let's go meditate on top of this mountain.
It's great.
That'd
It's
be
the
the whole
best.
thing.
I
It is
love
the
it.
best.
This is ridiculous.
Oh
My wife
God.
and I always make all the sounds that all the characters make because they only make like 2 sounds. Like the frog guy's always like woo, like all the time. But we always do the snake ones like. We do that all the time.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Spirit
great
Fair, it's
games.
great.
Everyone should
Catch the
play
fever.
it.
Catch the fever.
fever. There
That's
it is.
that's another catchphrase.
Yep.
I love it.
That rips ass and catch the fever.
Catch the fever.
We have like
Absolutely.
10 listeners maybe, and like I really want to start
Then
making
more than that.
I don't
We-
know.
we
All I
do
know
have-
is I don't know what the numbers are, but I really want to make a Catch the Fever T-shirt. Like I might do it this week.
Let's do it.
Why not do it for
have
yourself?
it with
right?
like
The
have it with,
Platformers
like,
podcast, Catch the Fever.
There you go.
Yeah.
a wavy rainbow or something like that on it.
Yeah,
I'm into it. If you do that, let me know. I want one.
yeah,
Yes.
I'll wear it on the show.
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Chris, did you have something you wanted to get into I do want to at some point talk about my final thoughts on Disgaea 6, but we can wrap with that if we want.
I do real quick. So I randomly found like YouTube. The YouTube algorithm is an interesting thing. I got suggested this interview with. So Mike Tyson does a show called Hotboxin, where it's him and this other guy. I don't know his name. He's a former football player who they smoke weed. And then they have a guest on their podcast, and then they.
Oh, Bill Burr was on this. I think. I thought.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them.
I need to watch this.
There's one with former Mafia captain Michael Franzese. I think that's how you pronounce it. Who fascinating. If you're into like the mob and like Mafia, The Godfather, that whole thing, like Scorsese movies, fascinating interview. This guy basically grew up like and was in the Mafia, and had all these ties to like his dad like knew Al Capone and like
weird.
that whole bit, but he went to prison in the 80s and because he was like, I'm either going to go to prison now for like 10 years and be fine and have a life after this, or I'm going to stay on the street and they're going to shut me down. I'm going to go back for life, or I'm going to die. So he went to prison, comes out, and like now of like the 50 people or whatever that he that were like as successful as him, like as like a Mafia captain, he's the only one that's still alive. So now he's just like, fuck it, I'll just tell everyone this whole story about the Mafia. Like, what do you want to know?
Wow.
So, but great interview. You got to watch it. Which got me thinking about like, I used to love like all the Scorsese movies and stuff.
I guess he won that tontine.
He definitely did. Yeah. So I was actually thinking about Mafia Definitive Edition, which I've never played any of the Mafia games. So that was on sale this week, and I had like a coupon to GameStop. I picked it up.
It was on sale. Oh, it was on sale at GameStop. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It cost me like $5.
What did you get it for?
I got it for PS4.
Okay.
There's no like next gen improvements or anything. Like it runs at a solid 30.
I was going to ask about that if there was like an upgrade or anything.
It does though. It has ray tracing. Like for a PS4 game, which I thought was interesting. So it looks great.
Yeah.
But it is such a like it's a 2002 game. It's incredibly linear. Like it's literally just like you do the mission and then the next mission begins. Like you don't.
It's supposed to be pretty good though, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
I really am enjoying it. Like I played it for about 2.5 hours last night.
This is the one with this is the one that's set in the South with the black protagonist.
No, that's Mafia 3.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Mafia 3.
Oh no, I'm
Mafia
sorry.
2?
This is Mafia Definitive Edition. This is the first
Okay.
one.
Okay. So it's a remake.
Yeah, it's a remake of the first one.
Okay. Cool.
All redone like voice acting, and like motion capture for like all the cutscenes and everything. Like they did a really good job with it. Yeah, yeah. Like
Oh
if
yeah,
you look,
didn't this come out around the same time as Mafia 3? Like they were kind of like, hey,
they redid this in the second one, and then they packaged it with the third one as like a trilogy bundle.
That's right.
I think this time last year about. So I guess it didn't do well because it's already $20, but yeah, like it's just you kind of drive around this city and like you meet these like Mafia guys and you become, obviously you're getting inducted into the Mafia or whatever. You become a made man, and you, like it's them just like having banter in the car as you're like driving and like collecting money from all these people and things like that. You may have to like swing some baseball bats at people and get in a couple gunfights, but like it's just like a really cool world to be in. You don't have to think a whole lot. Like it's a very simple game. I've been really enjoying it. So if you have never, maybe you played the original one, or you played the third one, I think it was on PlayStation Plus at one point. I definitely recommend it. I'm gonna keep going through it. I'll probably pick up the second one when I'm done. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been like really not different from. I mean, it's right on par with like my typical bullshit of like single player game where I like, don't really have to think a whole lot. But I really like the world and the characters. It's been cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Definitely let us know. As you wrap it up, your final thoughts, because I'm interested. My dad was always one of those types of people who watched like war movies and not mafia mob movies. So I have basically no experience with any of that stuff. I've never seen any of the Godfather movies.
Oh, really?
I've like none of. No, I have like no experience with any sort of mafia stuff, just because like I never knew anybody who was into it who like
If
kinda
you
told
ever
me.
want to get into it, we will have that conversation because there's a lot. I mean, it's like Godfather Part 1 and 2. You can watch 3. It's not very good. Casino.
Any Martin Scorsese
Goodfellas.
movie.
Yeah, any Martin Scorsese
his
movie.
whole-
Donnie Brasco.
His whole filmography
Yeah.
would be good.
Yeah.
Goodfellas. No, that's not the one. I was thinking of what's the one? And this is not a mafia thing. This is about like a robbery or something. It was the early Tarantino movie where the guy sings a song while he's cutting that dude's face up.
Oh, Reservoir Dogs.
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw that, but that's not a mafia movie. I
That's
don't
not
No,
a mafia
that's not a
movie.
mafia
no.
movie.
No.
But I always get that confused with Goodfellas. I don't know why.
I mean, they're guys in suits that kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
They came out around the
"Hey,
same time.
Give me the gabagool.
Gubba gubba. Now I will say I do love saying gabagool.
It's a good
It
word.
is pretty fun. It's a good word.
Yeah.
Gubba gabagool.
And
Nailed
and
it.
still an excellent office.
Got
quote.
it in one.
I'll have the gabagool. Or like the what?
Disgaea 6, what do you got?
Disgaea 6.
Yes.
So last time, this is my second part.
Is this like the third
Two.
week in a row that we've talked about Disgaea? Well, I wasn't, but
it's only the second one, but this is the second review in a row that I've done that I haven't quite made it to the review. So this is going to be my second final 5% review that I've
Alright.
done since Guilty Gear Strive. But basically, I was able to get pretty close to the end game before, but I beat it last time, and I got a little ways into the post-game stuff because one of the big things about Disgaea games is that they're basically forever games, like because of the way things like the item world works, which is basically like if you've ever played any RPG, like you'll get like cheap swords, you'll get better swords later, you'll get armor, you'll get all this sort of stuff, you'll get like potions and consumables. Well, in Disgaea, each one of those items is its own dungeon also that you can dive into, and they have at least like 30 floors to go through. Each floor can take like 20 seconds to like a couple of minutes to work your way through, but like when each item is its own thing, like you can ostensibly play this game forever as long as you like the rhythm of the game. But I got to the end game. There were some interesting twists. Disgaea games always have twists. This one I thought was not. I don't think story-wise, I don't think it holds up. This is basically just following up on what I said previously. Like wrapping up the game doesn't really add a whole lot to my thoughts. Like I don't think a whole lot higher than I did previously. Like I still think that Disgaea 1 and 4 are my favorites. I think that the twist in Disgaea 2 is still better than this one. I think the only one that this might be better than story-wise is Disgaea 3. But as far as gameplay systems are concerned, the auto battle kind of gambit-like system, like existed in Final Fantasy 12, is a huge thing because you can literally set your people to fight stages repeatedly overnight and just level up ridiculously. And that basically takes away most of the tedium that was in these games and getting your stats like maxed out in previous entries. And I think that makes it more approachable than a lot of the other games in the series. I'm actually going to go back and revisit Disgaea 5 complete and just kind of see how I feel about that after having played 1 where there is auto battling and auto repeat battles and stuff like that, and just kind of see how I feel now with that knowledge. But overall, none of those like kind of middling thoughts on the story or the characters stopped me from being completely addicted to it and staying up until like 2 o'clock 3 or 4 nights in a row after I beat it, just getting like totally, up to my eyeballs in the end game and post game, because there's a lot to do. There's like basically once you finish it, you can pass this bill in the Dark Assembly and it unlocks Carnage mode, which is a way harder version of every stage that exists in the main game, which I think there are like 5 or 6 stages over like 15 chapters or 16 chapters. So multiply that in your head. And then there's one of those variants for every one of those levels in Carnage mode. And then above that, there's another mode called Yasha mode. And that is like the level even beyond that. So if you want to keep pumping up your stats, if you want to keep maxing them out and exploiting like crazy overpowered moves and moving up and playing different variants of that sort of stuff, you can do it. And then there's a bunch of challenge modes, like challenge stages, like the Martial Dimension and the Carnage Dimension and things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to get into, and if you just want to play through the story, it's fun. But
55 hours you have in this game.
Yes, I do.
Jesus.
You just checked that on your Switch.
I did. I was like, this sounds like a lot. And I
Yeah.
looked
It is
and
a
I was
lot.
like, yep,
It is
that's
a lot. Wow.
There's a lot.
It's now it only I think takes like 20 hours to beat the story.
Okay.
So like this
Okay.
is a lot of me being like, all right, who's my squad gonna be?
But what else can it do?
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I've got a witch. I wonder how high I can get elemental burst leveled up, so it'll just hit for like 4 quadrillion damage. Literally, not an exaggeration. Literally, 4 quadrillion damage. Because they changed it. Like they increased the level cap from 9,999 to 99,999,999. There's basically
why
no
not?
reason.
Yeah.
There's no
Who cares?
reason for this to have been the case. I really wish that they had not inflated all the levels to that degree. It feels like basically just a check mark on the back of the box. Like it feels like marketing baloney that doesn't actually mean anything. But it's pretty fun. Like it is still more stuff. There is still more headroom, but if you're not into managing stuff in the menu, and all that sort of stuff, then like this might not necessarily be for you. But if you are like me, looking for another good tactical RPG very loosely in the vein of like Final Fantasy Tactics, there's basically nothing else out there that scratches the itch like Disgaea does, at least for me. Other than like one-offs like Fell Seal, Arbiter's Mark. But like this is a franchise that is ongoing. Like this is the only ongoing franchise that does like this sort of grid-based, turn-based tactical RPG.
Until
and
Advance Wars.
Until Advance Wars, you know.
No.
But yeah. But I like it a lot. It is probably going to be the game that I play on Switch. I basically had to stop myself because I was like, I want to play Hitman 2. I want to play like these other games.
Yeah.
Like I need to step away from this because it is going to consume me entirely. But I definitely do feel like once I get more caught up on some of my more easily finished games like Hitman, which doesn't take that long. Hitman 2 doesn't take that long. Hitman 3 doesn't take that long. Once I'm caught up on those like smaller games, this will probably be like kind of the new base level thing that I'm doing on Switch until Metroid probably. And then, you know, after that, I'll probably come back to this. I will say I'm very interested to see how this performs when it inevitably comes to PS5. And you can just have it on graphics mode because the graphical overhauls to this game are also a big reason why I wouldn't necessarily want to go back to the older ones. Because like now they're fully 3D models instead of just sprites. And I do think that it looks good. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm having a great time, and thank you to the people over at NIS for sending me the code. It's on
Excellent.
Switch. It's exclusive
Sick.
on Switch for a while, so you might as well
Hannah
jump in.
Hoolihan!
Hi.
Do you have anything that you want to talk about before we go?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. What
All
have you
right.
been getting
Whatever.
into, Hannah?
Well, my boyfriend and I have been playing through the Pirates of the Caribbean Sea of Thieves expansion,
Yes,
which has
me
been
too.
tremendously fun,
It's
and I've loved it.
Awesome.
Yes.
It's so funny, and I don't know if you had this reaction too, but when they were first showing that trailer, I was like,
yeah.
okay, A, Pirates is my favorite ride at Disneyland, just period, okay?
Yeah.
Second, like I really love Sea of Thieves, but I was like, really, we're gonna do these two things? But then as the trailer kept going, I'm like, this actually looks pretty like fucking awesome. And then we played it, and like the whole opening is just like it's like
It's the
walking through the
ride.
ride kind of and
That's-
stuff. I was like,
that's
this
what he
is
was
sick,
saying.
dude. Yeah, and then you get dropped on this island with all these cool puzzles to do and
Yeah.
stuff, and there's a talking skull, and it's great. It's
Yeah.
so good.
So I've never been on the theme park ride, but he has, and so he was very much like, this is pretty much what it is in a nutshell, and it feels a lot like a theme park ride, but the puzzles are tremendously fun. It's great co-op.
So,
It is.
Hannah, tell me. Thank you. That was the perfect answer. As somebody who played Sea of Thieves before it came out and was so scared that when my ship started shaking that I was going to be eaten by a kraken, which is one of my great phobias in life. I literally quit out to the Xbox dashboard and deleted the game.
You did?
What I did.
Yes,
I did.
this is the thing we've talked about on the
Brian.
show. We've talked about like getting him in the game and like working him in
Slowly,
very calmly.
but
I will
surely.
say,
Easing him
because
into it.
because I
Baby
literally
steps.
when I saw this trailer, I was like, I love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but if there was any type of licensed thing that they could add to Sea of Thieves that would increase the likelihood that a kraken would appear, it would be this one. This trilogy of movies where a kraken is literally one of the major plot points.
Well, see, here's the
I have
thing,
a
though,
feeling-
is...
you go ahead.
Oh, sorry. But you and I have very different gauges with where we land with horror. So I don't find Sea of
Okay.
Thieves scary at all. So I don't know how to gauge it for you if you're going to be okay with it. Because I play horror games for fun. So it's like, it might be scary
Skeletons
for you.
don't
I don't
scare
know.
me. Skeletons don't scare me. If there's gonna be a kraken that's attacking me, I'm gonna be freaked out
There
because
is a
I'm
kraken.
terrified of them.
I would
There
assume in the
is, yeah.
Pirates there is a Kraken, but I've played a lot of the base game and I've never even seen the Kraken.
Yeah,
So,
so we're on the
so-
second tail, and I think there's 5 in total that you do, but we finished the second one earlier today, and there was a Kraken in that one. So it's very different stories each time.
gotcha.
The
Yeah, I've only
first
done the
time-
first one.
The first time I played Sea of Thieves about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't know if this is like a scripted moment, like you do the thing, you get on the boat and everything. You do, or at least I saw one that like it took down a ship like in the distance, and I was like, is that gonna?
I think
is
that
gonna
that's
come
in the
get me?
tutorial, right?
Yeah,
I think
okay.
they do that on purpose. When you're in the main
Okay.
game, it's just kind of like people
You
wandering
roam.
around.
Whatever happens,
doing
happens,
stuff.
yeah.
Just kind of get into trouble. Just
But it's
wander
been
around.
very
and-
fun, you know? I
Yeah.
think if you like the movies, then it's definitely worth playing.
yeah,
I feel
but
like I have to play that game on PC though. I don't know why.
I mean,
just like-
it's crossplay, so. And again,
We can do that.
literally ask me. I will hop on that game anytime.
Seriously, we could make it a
I
group thing. It
love,
could be so much fun.
I love Sea of Thieves.
I will tell you,
Platformer sails the seas. Go for it.
I am open to playing it with you.
You
if
are
you're
physically
okay,
uncomfortable right now.
I know.
If you're okay with me backing out to the dashboard and immediately delating the game,
Yeah.
if I see one.
Okay,
If you're
fair
fine
enough.
with that, I will jump in with you.
I would
Fair
be
enough.
shocked if that happened, but I would also not to laugh at your pain, but I would think that was the funniest shit. Like 50 hours of me playing, I never see one, but the minute the guy who has the phobia of them comes in the game, they pop up, I would be like, dude,
funny.
I'm pretty sure you have to go find it. Like,
I think it's in a certain
specifically.
part of the sea
yeah.
that I think
Okay.
is on your map, so it shows specifically where it's located.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's like a feat
Brian.
to go kill it, but
So
you
you
don't
can-
have to do it.
Yeah, you can avoid it.
How are you with tentacle porn?
He's like, love it, 10 out of 10.
Somebody actually suggested that I use that to get over my fear.
Yeah.
Somebody legitimately
yeah.
suggested that to me.
But isn't it
I'm like-
different? Like,
Oh my god.
It's definitely different.
those people
because
aren't being
the-
dragged into the sea. Like,
because tentacles
Maybe not the one
aren't-
you're watching.
because tentacles aren't my
aren't
fear.
the problem. Yeah.
It's those creatures
Epis-
coming out of the dark depths of the water
That's
that I'm
episode
also
title right there.
in.
Tentacles
Like
aren't his
when
problem.
tentacles aren't my problem. Hold on, let me
I understand where you're coming from. It's that fear of the ocean
It's literally
depths.
the murky water.
Yeah.
Me being in the murky water, and then those coming out of the thing
I
right
completely
at me.
get that.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
I tell you what, if we ever play, you don't ever have to
unless
get in the
I
water.
do something, unless I do something very happy and distracting before bed. The moment I close my eyes, I'm going to see that for
Yeah.
an extended period of time, and it's going to be very difficult for me.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
And the craziest thing is I've been able to conquer and eliminate all of my other fears. This is one that's actually gotten worse over time, which is crazy to me. This is the only phobia that I was like, I don't really like this because of this, because I watched 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea as a kid. And then it has just gotten worse and worse and worse. Like, I didn't used to think about it that much. It would be like when I would swim in the pool and close my eyes, I would think about it or something. Or I would like swim. There was this long pool. There was like this Olympic pool, and the lines across the bottom were all black. Like each lane had a long black line. And so when you were like looking down at it, it would look like the long. Anyway, it's
Man, this is like a deeply rooted thing in
it is.
your brain.
It is. This is a real.
It could be a therapy
this is
sesh if you need it to be. I mean,
Yeah.
we are
sounds
all
like that's where
listening.
it's
We'll just
Yeah.
sit on the boat and get drunk and then play the instruments really
Hey,
poorly.
there you go. Yeah, we can make Sea of Thieves into
Okay.
that.
Hey.
It's perfect.
Hannah, do you
Yeah.
have, when you play, do you have any rituals? Because the people I play with, we've all have developed like rituals that we do every single time.
Well,
that we
no,
play.
because I'm pretty much brand new to it. I didn't have a huge
okay.
past of playing Sea of Thieves. It was very much just this Pirates of the Caribbean bit seems really fun. We should try it.
I
and so
bet
we're
you a
jumping
lot
to
of
it
people.
now.
I bet a lot of people have the same thing. They're like, "Oh, pirates! I'll check that out." So we have a thing every time we play where when we're kind of done, we're like, "Okay, we're gonna sign off." We go below deck, drink as much grog as possible, like to the point where you're actually like projectile throwing up,
Yeah.
and you can't walk. And then everyone pulls out their fire bombs or like whatever they have. You set the boat on fire and try to get out. And then when you get out, you all play whatever instruments because they sound terrible when you're drunk. So they're all like off key and shit. So there's
Yeah.
4 assholes like running out of a flaming boat. Playing
Beautifully
like
done.
blah, 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 we're all like barfing over the edge and stuff.
Yeah.
And we just do that until the boat sinks. We just try to sink our own boat, and then we're like, all right, time to go.
Beautifully
It's like a
done.
random thing we started doing.
There we go.
And that doesn't
What a way to
like
end
your
it.
people don't lose anything when you die that way or whatever or what?
No, because if we turned all
I mean,
the
I don't-
stuff, we turned all the stuff in, and then we're like, all
Okay.
right, we turned everything in. Now we can just fucking destroy the boat.
Oh, okay.
When your boat sinks, you just get another one. They
So
respawn
okay.
you, and you get
Yeah.
a brand new boat.
we could just sing bad songs and get drunk in Sea of Thieves. And we could
We
avoid
also-
the Kraken altogether. It could be
Yeah.
total fun
If-
that way.
Also,
If the Kraken can be avoided,
yeah, there you
that's
go.
great.
Yep.
Also,
You know.
we have a pink. We make our boat look pink, and then we fly the pride flag and just call ourselves the butt pirates. No one calls us that, but we just call ourselves that, and then sail around, just doing stupid shit.
I'm a butt pirate. I want your booty.
We don't actually do. It's just a joke, but
That's pretty good.
we do
that's
it. We
good.
do fly the pride flag and stuff, and do all kinds of stuff. And then we
Hey,
see
there you
people,
go.
and we're like, let's get them. Let's take their crap.
It's a good time had by
Yeah.
all.
Let's take their crap because we are the butt pirates.
Ah, there you go.
Exactly. Yes?
Do we want to wrap or should we talk about some other thing? I played one demo, but I'm not particularly enthused by it. Did anybody play The World Ends With You
No.
other than me?
Yes.
You did?
On DS in high school or whenever it came out.
Yeah. Did you try the Neo The World Ends With You demo on PS5?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I
Yeah.
did.
No, I keep like trying to convince myself. It's like Kingdom Hearts 3 for me for some reason. Like I keep trying to convince myself like that's a franchise I'll like. And then the more I look at it, the more I'm like the time's come and gone. I'm past that point in my life
You're
where I'm
past
just
that
like
point.
yeah, I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, I played like the first chapter. I think this is one of the very, very, very exceptionally few games that is actually better with like a stylus or that sort of a thing. It's not
It's
because what-
almost like they designed it around
Yeah.
that console.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but basically what happens is when you pick up the different pins, like you've got different members of your team and you assign each one of them to the pins, and then you'll either like hold R2 and then let it go for one person to use a move, or like mash on square or triangle, or hold L2, and it's like that sort of a thing. Like it's totally different. It's
Yeah.
not the same. And like,
I mean, that was a lot of the gripe with the Switch port was like the touch controls were better, but it was like if you want to play this on a TV, like it's not nearly
the
as
same.
good. Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
literally designed for that kind of input.
yeah, which is a real bummer. And the writing is like very not good. Like it's
Yeah.
very overwrought. Like very. Oh, you don't know where you are?
Let me tell you.
You'll
Yeah.
find out soon enough. Like, well, you don't need me to tell you that. Or like this one guy is like infatuated with math, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are," and then insert ridiculously convoluted mathematical term. He's like, "That's what it means when 2 points are as close to they're like almost infinitely." Minuscule, but not zero, and who knows if they'll ever reach zero. And it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You could have run out and said "time to die," and that would have gotten the same effect
Yeah.
here. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's I'm disappointed because I am one of the few people out there who actually likes Tetsuya Nomura. But like
What are you talking about?
I can't deny a lot of people give him shit for his character designs. All the characters have like a billion zippers on their outfits and all that sort of shit. They liked Amano when he did the character design for Final Fantasy and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I don't know. It's fine.
A lot of people don't like Tetsuya Nomura, but I really do, and I'm disappointed when there's games where they have this cool character design, this awesome art, and like just the game's substance is not good. Like with Kingdom Hearts 3, like the game sucks. Like the last chapter of that game is great, and everything else is fucking garbage, and it broke my heart. I don't know. But anyway, so this is not that bad. Like it's not Disney cringe terribleness bad, but it's just not very inspired. It's not good.
I didn't have that adverse a reaction to. I actually thought the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 was the worst part because it just went on forever. And they were just like, oh my god, wrap this up. And they're like, we're going to fight every person that's ever existed in this series.
And not answer all the things.
And it was like, dude,
Yeah.
can you
That's true.
stop with this? Can we finish?
Let me clarify. When it's set on Disney worlds, I don't like what it does. But when you actually get to the world with all the doors, I was like, okay, this is original. This is new. This is interesting. You know what I mean? Like that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Yeah, we know you don't like Disney.
I like Disney.
fucking
It just
psycho.
doesn't make sense in this.
Fucking
The most
psycho, what's
interesting
wrong
part
with you?
of Kingdom Hearts.
It never did, Brian. You just gotta accept it.
But the best parts of
I know
those-
we have talked about this so many fucking
It's
times.
very true. But that's why Birth by Sleep was the best, because it almost had none of that stuff. Anyway,
Anyway,
I don't want to end on a downer, but
I'll end on this. I
Oh,
can't
boy.
wait. I'll end on this. I can't.
end
I
on
tweeted
this.
this morning. I can't wait for Saturday and Sunday morning when all you motherfuckers with Nintendo Switches are out there tweeting your twats, and you're like,
Whoa.
"Oh man,
Whoa.
Skyward Sword is so good. I can't believe everyone shit all over this game when it was on the Wii." Guess what? They fixed fucking everything.
they
wrong
did.
with
They
that
fixed
game.
everything.
Yeah,
It's
they
gonna
literally
be great.
fixed
and
every problem with that game, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, it's so good! It's a new Wind Waker!" Like,
yeah, no, it's
That is-
ridiculous. I'm in the same
I've never
boat as
played
you
it,
there.
so I'm
Oh.
just excited to actually play it at some point.
You'll play the better version,
Yeah,
You will,
that's
and
what I
everyone
hear.
and I'm
will.
happy for you. I'm glad you get to
Yeah.
experience that.
yeah.
now, Chris, are you going to have beef with me saying that it's good if I say it's good?
No, I'm not gonna have beef with anyone. I just think it's funny that like the internet is just like, "Oh, a Skyward Sword remake. Oh, this fucking sucks."
they would
and like
do-
now it's gonna come out, and then they're gonna be like, "Wow, I'm so glad we got this. I never got to play it before." And like,
Chris, they would do the same thing if Majora's Mask got like a full-on.
Listen,
Another
They
full-on
I want my
remake.
Wind Waker
People would be like,
port.
Majora's Mask sucks, and then everyone would buy it and be like, Majora's Mask is good actually.
yeah.
Like,
And they'd be wrong.
no, the Majora's Mask is good. I was one of those people, and then I played it again as
Yeah.
an adult, and I went, you know what? This is a good game. This is a good game.
A dark game.
Sure,
very
it's a good game. It's just the least good Zelda
It's not
game.
for
It's-
everyone.
It's not
that is
for
not
me.
true.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Listen, Wind
Okay,
Waker's
it's better
always
than
been
Link's-
my favorite, so I'm just that's
It's better
the
than
boat
Link's
that I
crossbow
stay in.
training. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
You want to know a fun fact about Wind Waker and Chris Shriver? Because
Yes.
we've Hannah Hoolihan, we've gotten very close this episode.
We
All right,
have.
you're gonna.
I've heard all about everyone's hopes.
Don't
dreams,
agree to
and
anything
gripping
before you hear the
fears.
details.
Get ready. So
Hannah, don't sign anything, please.
I'm holding back.
I was given that game on March 26th, which I believe was the release date, which is my birthday.
Okay.
Right? I was like 12 years old. And when I was given it, I had to fart, and I went to blow out my birthday candles, and when I blew them out, I sharted. It's the last time I shit my pants.
That's a weird.
When I was given my copy of Wind
Memory.
Waker.
It's not
You know,
Chris,
what I
on
was
that day,
expecting to hear at all.
you know what's weird, Chris? Is
Completely.
I
Hey, you know
also-
what? Hannah's gonna agree with me on this one. I shit my
say that-
pants.
Now that you say that, I also
Chris,
have
what?
I didn't shart, but like I have a weird memory that ties to Wind Waker because
What the fuck is this show?
I remember distinctly like
Share
getting
it,
the
I wanna
game and
know.
coming home and having a headache, like really bad because I just get a lot of headaches, and
Because it was up to my eyes.
I was up to my eyes and hype, and I just and I remember like waiting to play it because I took medicine and like watched Hey Arnold and ate like
Where the
macaroni or
fuck
some shit.
is
why
this going?
Why do I remember this? I don't know. But you just like unhinged that
Unlocked a
from the back
memory.
of my brain. Yeah.
Man,
I don't know why. Like every time I think of Wind Waker, I just think of
that memory.
Shit.
And,
We have
and-
to- we
and
have
that
to
was the
break-
last
I don't have
time,
that kind of an
children. That was
attachment
the
to
last
Wind Waker,
time.
so you've got some memories.
great game
there.
though.
Great
Otherwise,
game.
great game.
Wind Waker is
Yeah, no,
great.
great game.
Otherwise, a great. I got it the day I last shit my pants. Otherwise, a great game.
Otherwise, yeah,
Great game.
10 out of 10. Loved it. Great day.
We
great
have to
game.
do this.
Yeah.
We have to do this next episode and see if like we have weird memories tied to
Games.
like the day we got a specific game, because I also know that I got in a really bad car accident the day New Vegas came out,
Oh wow.
because I literally had it in my car and then I fucking I crashed
Crashed it.
well.
Wow.
On that day, Chris, you
Then I
became
went
the
home.
Wind Waker.
with my crashed car and then played New Vegas.
Oh, God.
Also, last thing.
Okay.
I've said it like 4 times now.
Yeah, you
Remember when you pre-ordered that game and they gave you the Ocarina of Time and the Master Quest?
Yes.
Yep, I do remember
yeah,
that.
double
And
How
pack.
I-
fucking awesome
Yeah.
was
It was
that?
awesome.
Like,
It was great.
And I played all of
kids these
Master
days just don't
Quest,
get it.
and it was hard as
Don't get
shit.
it.
We just don't get how
They
special
don't get
is.
it both figuratively and literally, because
And
they don't just
literally.
get
Literally.
free games now when you pre-order shit.
Could you imagine if they were like, "Oh, Skyward Sword's coming out, HD remaster, whatever. By the way, if you pre-order it, you get Wind Waker."
By the way, you get an
I mean,
HD.
sometimes you do get that actually, because didn't they do that with like Wolfenstein 2? If you pre-order it, you got Wolfenstein 1.
Yeah, that was like fucking 3 years ago, Brian. I'm talking about right now.
I'm talking about right now.
What's Nintendo? What do you do for your Nintendo?
What have you done for
does
me lately,
Nintendo do for you?
Nintendo?
That's what I'm
That's his inner
saying.
Mafia coming out. He's been playing too much
Yeah.
Mafia now. He's
Nintendo,
like,
I'm telling you, you
Let
gotta
me
show
tell
me
you
the
about
gavel.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Let me tell you, Nintendo, all I used to eat was bagel bites. All right.
Hold on, hold on, hold on,
I
hold on.
ate so many carbs.
Bagel. Bagel
All I
bites.
did was eat bagel bites and shit my pants and play Wind Waker.
And occasionally
happened?
be in musicals. It was a combination of all of them.
Oh,
I used to be skinny, but I haven't shit my pants in 12 years, so now I'm
So
bigger.
it's a
Because I gotta
plus
have
for
room
me.
for all this shit. It's up to my eyes.
This is a great episode.
Jesus
This is
Christ.
maybe the best episode we've recorded in, I don't know,
At least a week.
ever.
Oh, man.
It's, yeah.
All right, let's wrap this shit.
Shall we wrap?
Let's not hold Hannah hostage any longer.
I'm having
Yeah.
way too much fun. You guys can hold me hostage.
Yeah.
It's
She's
totally
like, get
fine.
me.
Yeah.
She's like, get me out of this.
No, man. This is too much fun.
Man, by the way, Hannah, what a banger of an episode you ended up being on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. What
Absolutely.
an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely have to keep in touch and have you on way more often, because this has been enlightening.
We got to the root of everyone's major issues in this episode. We had like little chats
really
about
did.
everyone, their past things
talked about
that have happened. Man, learned
Fears.
a lot.
We talked about, shits. We talked about being in
episode-
better shape.
Man.
This episode definitely ripped ass.
Very
It
true.
absolutely
I mean,
did.
well, yeah. And then some. Ripped ass plus.
Wow. It's like Chris's birthday party.
The year he got Wind Waker. There we go.
Chris's Wind Waker.
Wind Waker
what they
Awakening.
call it.
Wind Waking.
2008.
all over again.
Chris's
He got-
Wind Waking plus.
Yeah. He got Wind Waker and also took one.
I love you all so much.
You guys are so great.
Right back at you, buddy.
Times.
This is fantastic.
Thank you for joining us for episode 186 of the Platformers podcast. If you've got thoughts or ideas that you want to share, or you want to claim one of our last giveaway codes for the PC Steam version of Dark Deity, which is a kind of Fire Emblem-like strategy game that I talked about a few episodes ago. We still have some keys left, so hit me up on Twitter at Ribnax, Ribnax, and we can hash things out there. Also, if you want to check out my new band's new single, my band is called Long Live the Lights. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and Spotify. And our new single is called Sirens. It's really, really great, and we're working on 2 new singles that we're going to have out in the future that I'm very excited for all of you to check out. So
I checked it out. It is good.
Thanks, man.
What am I up to? Oh, yeah. So I'm on Twitter, but I don't tweet that much, but you can find me at the Jawa Josh. And if you'd like to see all the cool video essay stuff I'm working on, you can go to youtube.com/braintap. I'm currently working on a video about Gundam that involves both.
Ooh.
I rewatched all of Gundam Wing, which is almost 50 episodes, and was about to tear my eyes out. And then also watched 8th MS Team, which is only 12 episodes, and I was like, oh, thank God. And built a Gundam model, but had to, I feel like this video would have been done already, but I dropped my airbrush on my foot and bent the needle, and so I had to order a new nozzle. And that just came in. So I have to finish filming and doing all kinds of crazy crap. So that one will be out at some point. But the long-awaited Spider-Man video is out. You should go watch it.
Very good.
Very cool.
Very,
Thanks,
very good.
buddy.
Yeah, I
It
like
was
it a lot.
really hard to make. Last thing, PSA for any fellow Warframe players out there, Saturday is TennoCon. So be sure to at least have some kind of screen that has your Warframe account, on your Twitch or whatever, that's tied to it, and at least put it on so that you get the free stuff, because every year they give out a bunch of free weapons and high-level shit for just watching it. So do it.
Nice.
That's it.
Cool. Chris,
Brian.
how you doing, bud?
Good, man. I yell on Twitter. You can find me at Shrives93. That on everything. If you want to add me on Switch, Xbox, PS5, whatever, you can find me at Shrives93. I don't have a whole lot else going on. I'm planning a wedding.
Yay!
That's not content related. That's really all I have going on.
Yeah,
Very exciting nonetheless.
very busy with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat, and it's I don't like it.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot.
You'll be glad you did it when you're on the other side and you got all the pictures and all that sort of stuff. That is one
yeah.
thing.
The
memories
That is one
will be
thing.
nice.
Invest in a good photographer, because those pictures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just weird because my wife and I are already married, so now we're like, what's even the point? But now it's just let's just do it. We said we were going to do
It's
it.
a dope party.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Invite all your friends.
It's a
There you go.
celebration of your love. That's the most important thing of all.
Celebration. I love it.
Celebration of your
You
love.
two are so
Hannah.
lovely.
Hannah, where
Have a
can they
bagel
find
bite.
you?
Yeah, Hannah, where can people find you if you want them to find you? And what have you been up to?
Don't
what do you got
come
to plug?
find me. No, I'm kidding. I tweet occasionally, not that often. You can find me at Hannah_Hoolihan. I'm funny every now and then if you like content like that. Otherwise, I'm not working on too much. I am just kind of hanging out. I'm doing commerce work. I recently watched that Resident Evil Infinite Darkness series, which was exactly what I was hoping it would be. Not that great, but it was cheesy enough that it fulfilled all the Resident Evil needs that I needed. That's about all that I've been doing. Just kind of hanging out.
Cool.
Yeah. No big plans for me in the future, just chilling.
Hell yeah,
Just
nothing.
me, just nothing.
Cool.
Yep.
Nice. All
I'm in
right.
the same boat.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us, Hannah. I was
Thanks for
pleased as
having
punch
me.
when you agreed to be on. It was an absolute pleasure, and this is definitely a favorite episode of mine already.
I'm
like,
so
this was
excited. It's been so
not
much
even
fun.
edited.
extremely fun. It's not even edited yet. I'm gonna have a blast listening back to this, even if I'm not the one who edits it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's been fun.
Anyways, listeners out there, thank you so much for joining us for episode 186. If you want to watch us record the show live and see the absolute dumpster fire that this sometimes becomes, check us out at twitch.tv/platformerspod. And you can also check out youtube.com/platformerspod to see the archives later on once our lovely boy Chris uploads them, like the angel that he is. Please review us on your podcast platform of choice and tell friends and family about it if you think they would get a kick out of it. From everybody here at the Platformers, we hope you have a wonderful week and stay safe out there, because until next time, we are out.
Bye.
Like, yeah. My God, that was so much fun. Oh, that was excellent. Did not disappoint.